Dear participants and speakers, on behalf of the AIFC Academy of Law, I would like to welcome all of you to this special event, AIFC Legal Talks, Success Stories in the Legal Industry, dedicated to the celebration of International Women's Day. My name is Aidana, and I'm the supervisor at the AIFC Academy of Law, and I'll be moderating today's event. Before we get started, I have a few notes. Please turn off your microphones to avoid any unintentional disturbance and during the session. And please, you may turn your web cameras and keep them live during the Q&A session so we could see your faces and emotions. Today's session will be recorded to be available for viewing on the YouTube channel of the AIFC Academy of Law. If you have any technical questions, please reach out directly to me via the chat function. First, you'll be hearing a welcome speech by Mr. Nurjan Kusbayev, who is the Deputy Chairman of the Management Board of the Astana International Financial Central Authority. We have today 4 speakers: Gulnur Nurkeyeva, Imanis Kariva, Kulzhan Mehrabi, and Aidan Gurzanova. They will share with us their success stories in their legal practices, as well as talk on various topics related to building a successful legal career, maintaining work-life balance, and demonstrating effective leadership in the legal industry, and so on. And the closing remarks will be delivered by Mr. David Russell Gallo, the director of the AIFC Academy of Law. Each speaker today will have a total of 15 minutes for their presentation. If one of the speakers completes their presentation before their 15 minutes up, there may be time for questions from attendees. However, to make sure that we meet the timetable, we'll hold most questions until the end of the session. If you have any questions for the speakers, please use the chat box in the Zoom webinar. Then I will read the questions out loud for the speakers to answer. Or you can simply raise your hand for speakers to answer after the session. With that, I would like to turn the floor over to Mr. Nurjan Kusbayev. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Aidana. Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of AIFC Authority and my behalf, let me extend my sincere congratulations to our distinguished speakers and our guests on the upcoming International Women's Day. So I would like to warmly welcome to our AIFC Legal Talks. In today's session, we have an excellent panel of inspirational female speakers who joined us to share their stories of success and strategies for a more inclusive legal profession. Indeed, a diversified legal sector is critical for progress on gender equality and legitimacy of the justice system. The presence of women in the legal sector, particularly in senior positions, sends a powerful message for those who aspire to succeed in a legal career. The presence of women in the legal profession provides encouragement and active mentoring for young female lawyers, law students, and indeed younger women and girls to aspire to seek and become legal professionals, thus improving gender balance in the legal field. The AIFC supports and implements corporate policies ensuring equality and inclusion. Equal opportunity constitutes one of the basic pillars of the professional progress, and the development thereof entails equitable treatment to promote personal and professional progress. In March 2021, the Embassy of the Republic of Kazakhstan in the US and the AIFC jointly held a virtual roundtable on women's economic empowerment and investment into women entrepreneurship international mechanism for expanding business opportunities for women entrepreneurs and Kazakhstan's efforts to strengthen women's economic rights within the country and the region. And also we, as AIFC, we have joined closing the Gender Gap Accelerated Program of the World Economic Forum as a local coordinator of global initiative in Kazakhstan, responsible for facilitation and collaboration the public and private sectors to take proactive action to advance women's economic empowerment. Considering the AIFC values, we recognize distinguished female legal and financial professionals, including those with whom we have the pleasure to interact daily. For example, in 2020, we The Women Leadership Award was established by AIFC Governor Dr. Kairat Kelimbetov in commemoration of the first chairman of the Board of Directors of AFSA, Lady Barbara Judge, as determined advocate of women's rights and her great contribution to AIFC development, and to recognize women's role in the AIFC. Last year, we opened a conference hall named in honor of Lady Barbara Judge. We are very proud of all successful women in the AIFC family and appreciate their experience, knowledge, and professionalism, which they contribute to all projects we are working on. Therefore, we organized this event to foster and encourage young professionals in determining professional pathways and supporting them. As you may have already discovered, our speakers today are the representative of both female and legal communities. Even though each of them will tell you different paths towards success, all of them have gone through advanced training, gained invaluable professional experience and international recognition. Apart from performing their jobs on a high level, these women in themselves provide an example of competent professionals and simply people of integrity. Dear ladies, it's indeed great to see how you are building a successful legal career in Kazakhstan as well as abroad. With this event today, we would like to show that any achievement reaching any professional peak is possible if we promote equal rights and women empowerment. Once again, please accept my congratulations on upcoming International Women's Day. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Nurjan, for your welcoming speech, for your congratulations. Well, without any further delay, I would like to hand over the floor to Ms. Gulnur Nurkeyeva, who is the partner at GRATA International law firm in China, and also she's responsible for all China-related projects in countries of GRATA International presence. She will share her personal experience in the legal career and then talk on the topic female legal professionals reaching the top. So please welcome Ms. Gulnur.
Okay. Nurjan, Aidan, thank you very much for your kind introduction and congratulations and having me here. I'm just thrilled to be here among this amazing group of women. And let me share the screen. This one. Share. Okay. Not this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Yes. My topic, I'm Gulnur and I'm based in Beijing. My topic is suggested by AIFC female legal professionals reaching the top. I would not claim that I actually reached the top, but I believe that this is a goal for all legal professionals and especially for those who are attending this webinar today. Let me briefly introduce myself. I'm a managing partner and head of GRATA International law firm China office. I have more than 22 years of experience as a qualified lawyer. I did my master's degree 12 years ago in a top university in China, which is Beijing University. I'm an arbitrator in couple of PRC arbitration commissions. I'm also certified mediator by both by Kazakhstan and also UK Center for Effective Dispute Resolution. And thanks to AIFC once again for an opportunity to study in CEDR. After selection of candidates, AIFC used to provide full payment for CEDR course. I'm not sure if it's still there and available, but I was the lucky one who got that. And at least, but last but not least, I'm a science and legal expert of the Institute of Legislation and Legal Information of the Republic of Kazakhstan of the Ministry of Justice of Kazakhstan. I've started my career in 1999 in Astana Bar Association. Later, I worked for the Ministry of State Income, and I'm proud being a part of a working group in drafting first tax code of Republic of Kazakhstan. That was inspiring experience among amazing professionals and politicians of that period. And later, prior to joining GRATA law firm, I was working for Samrup Kazina Group as an in-house lawyer, later as a head of department. And for the last 7 years, as a head of China office, I've become a winner of China Business Law Awards in 2015, 16, 18, 20. Last year, I was a finalist, Deal Maker of the Year of ALB China Law Award. So you may have heard about Belt and Road Policy, which is basically Chinese government supporting and encouraging Chinese companies to do business in 70 different countries among ancient Belt and Road, Silk Road paths. And our law firm has its presence in 18 countries among these 70 Belt and Road countries. And as Aidan mentioned, I'm responsible for those Chinese companies and China-related projects in countries of GRATA International presence. That's the reason for me to have quite a broad practice in M&A and corporate construction, about construction, mostly FIDIC contracts, dispute resolution. And I would like to talk more on dispute resolution. Last year, I won civil cases for total amount of claims exceeding $9 million in favor of my clients, and 4 million out of them were in AIFC Court and International Arbitration Center of AIFC. And I would like to mention for the participants that AIFC Court is an entirely new level of consideration of cases. Here in Kazakhstan, I'm based in Beijing, but generally in Kazakhstan, the parties can gain access to justice governed by the most prominent and highly regarded judges with an impeccable reputation. For example, Justice Sir Rupert Jackson, who issued a judgment in my case, is a world-renowned expert in the legal community for his contribution to the development of civil litigation in England and Wales. He was a Queen's Counsel barrister, High Court judge, and he was an editor-in-chief of the White Book, which is a civil procedure of England and Wales. So I confidently recommend the AIFC Court and Arbitration Center not only to Kazakhstani companies and lawyers participating in attending this webinar, but also to all companies from CIS countries when dealing with transnational projects. In a PPT, you can see the recommendation letters and like simple list of my clients, which is city construction, like chemical industry, Jansi Cooper, one of the bigger copper organization, German petroleum listed companies. It's actually top 500 of enterprises in the world, but set up in China. And there was a recommendation for the work we have done for them. Since today's topic is women in law, women are always distinguished by not only in their professional success, but also being a loved wife and mother. And that question, I can actually say that I succeed. With my beloved husband, we have 2 kids, and I'm happy to share the amazing news, which make me actually feel happy for the last week, that our eldest son got an offer from Oxford University, which is the best in the world, and it was dream university for him, and we are happy for him, and which makes me happy and like feeling successful on the field of being mother. And for however, a legal industry is not a friend of heart. The legal industry will chew you up and spit you out. You need a really strong constitution, honest, organized, proactive mind sort of thinking with a heart of steel and patience of a saint. And by saying having strong constitution, I mean to develop in a habits for a strong mind and body. In my particular case, I always set up a goals of 10,000 steps, twice a week yoga, like twice a week meditation, sports and books, like certain amount of books for a month. But sports, I never succeed. I have my personal coach. He was always saying that if I'm not reaching the goal, I need to withdraw the goal. Otherwise, this goal eating my energy. And sport is one of them. But I still let it eat my energy and leave it in my list of goals for the strong habits for my body, especially. But anyway, so it's very important to establish strong habits. And by being organized, for me, I usually understand having long-term goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, and main focus for a day. Again, in my particular case, I did my master's degree in beta, and I'm doing my PhD degree. And that was the goal which I have not achieved. That was the goal for the last year, but I postponed my defense of dissertation for this year. So it's fine not sometimes not to achieve your long-term goals. You can always postpone, but you need to have them to make sure what is the direction. And to establish a billable hours goal for all lawyers is crucial. And if you work at least 40 hours per week, then you can easily reach something around 2,000 billable hours per year. That is the goal for me. And then the long-term goals I usually divide for the monthly goals, which bring us to 160 billable hours. I have monthly goals such as 2 publications, which is very important whenever you close the deal, whenever you have successful a case in a court, make sure that you actually put it on paper and share your experience, share your knowledges with your potential clients, with people generally speaking, because perception is reality. Once you do something but you don't share it, then no one knows about that, and it will not bring value to you. It brings value to this particular case only. So I have my monthly goal as a 2 publication, and I have my monthly goal as a 2 public events as a speaker. In the very beginning of my career, it was just 2 public events. I was not entitled or quite sure, confident about myself to be a speaker, but like for this year, it's to be, because once you're a speaker, you can actually get more clients, more attention to yourself rather than running around and sharing your business cards with the attendees of those business events, especially with pandemic, when you have no access to those who are in those business events. And then you set up a weekly goals, which is like 2 meetings with new potential clients. We have every time meetings with clients, but it is crucial to have 2 meetings with new potential clients. Quite a hard task, especially when you are in the market for quite a long time. But I have personal goal as a 2 hours tutorial with my teacher, a Chinese teacher, and as per day, I actually always ask my team, and I do it myself. I have a list of the goals for the day, and I divide them for 30 minutes achievement. So I was like 9:30 to 10, I did that, 9:30 to 10, like, and so on and so on. And when you are actually, like, when you're a partner, you have no one to control you. So I'm using this hidden camera time management tool, which imagining that there is a hidden camera and clients are watching whether I'm actually working on DD at this moment as I promised or not. So it really keeps me focused all the time, and I never lose time on like social browsing like Instagram, Facebook, and so on time killers during the working day. And you actually feel energized and happy when all your lists are done by the end of the year. And by being proactive, approach implies taking initiative as opposed to waiting for events. For example, you look through the state procurement website, whether you can attend those state procurement. You meeting with embassies and ambassadors, like meeting with Shanghai, like in my case, meeting with Shanghai Organization of Cooperation, and trying to find the opportunities for your client. For example, if I know that it's my colleague from Samruk Kazana is looking for, like 2 years ago, a year ago, Samruk Kazana announced that they're going to be more proactive. They're going to change the strategy to become an investors rather than just shareholders. And on that time, they were looking for the foreign investors. So I was willing to help to share this information with my list of clients. So if they're interested in bringing money to the project, then they can actually achieve. So this is being proactive, not that sitting there and waiting when clients find you. And of course, if projects succeed, then you can make sure that the legal advice position will be given to you by the investors, because you're not only trying to get the money, but you're also trying to bring value to the project, to your client. And feedback is a gift. Try your best to make your clients happy. And if once they're happy, they're willing to share the reference letters, which I showed you previously. And I mean, we can say that we always say the world is small, right? But for example, China is a huge country. However, Chinese clients doing business in CIS region is not a huge list of companies. It's still the same big names. And once one of the client lawyers cannot afford themselves a mistake. So once one client will be unhappy with your services, it's almost for sure that the rest of the clients will know about that. And once one of your clients happy with you, then referrals will lead you to success. And about networking, always engage with past connections, always keep in touch, which is very important. I know it's time consuming, but it is very important to stay in touch with clients, always like congratulate them with New Year's, International Women's Day, and etc., sending them client notes. And when trying to get a new network, be clear on intent and purpose of the meeting. So I'm, as I said, like twice a week, I'm meeting a new potential clients, and I ask them to give me like half an hour, and within half an hour, I'm trying my best to bring value to these meetings, because in this reality, everyone is extremely busy, and even half an hour, it's already absolutely valuable time for them to spend with me. And I realize that, and I try to bring value to that. Focus on building win-win relationship and stay in contact. So, and it's very important to develop a personal brand. Social media can be a good help on that, and pro bono work is a very good instrument as well. Teaching, I'm personally teaching in St. Petersburg State University. For the last lecture, St. Petersburg State University also invited Moscow State University. And based on that, later on, like 2 days ago, I had a scientific practice conference with the professors of Voronezh State University, and my alma mater is Karaganda State University, when I delivering free of charge lectures as well for the students to promote. And it's not about money, it's actually time consuming. I quite often don't have time for that, but it is about personal brand. It is developing your personal brand, and participating in legislative working group is also time consuming. However, it makes you it gives you opportunity to know people in the industry and to bring value once again. And I'm happy to be part of the Institute of Legislation and Legal Information of Ministry of Justice. This is about personal professional development, and among the participants, there are like partners of law firms, owners of a legal business, or maybe advocates of bar associations. Then it's very important to differentiate the practice area, for example, banking and finance, construction, oil and gas, and industry sectors such as corporate and M&A, or taxes, or litigation. You can be good at everything, and you need to be expert in particular area. I'm not saying that you need to choose only one area, but for example, I successfully advised my clients in implementing around 7 renewable energy projects in Kazakhstan, which was CPH and SUMEC. It was in the second slide. And I know the industry quite well, because we started from the scratch like 3 years ago. And if you are expert in this energy, then you know the process of auction, for example, price indexation for energy, construction process, investment privileges for renewable energy sources in Kazakhstan. And most likely you get to know people from Ministry of Energy, KIGOG, Korem, or Financial Settlement Center responsible for the renewable source of energy projects. And you know the most of the market players by the end, and clients can actually rely on you as a trustworthy, reliable person, because your knowledge is not limited to the legal advice. You're an expert, you have your expert opinion and circle in the industry. Marketing team is very important to make sure that all publications are done, articles are sent, clients notes are sent, and also very important to pay attention for international ratings such as Legal 500, Chambers and Partners, and so on. And make sure that you have your colleagues back and cheer them publicly, which I'm willing to do. I'm surrounded with an amazing team members. They're smarter than me in some aspect, which is my weaknesses. My team members' English and Chinese skills are better than mine. And without their help and support, the success is not possible. So it is very important to invest your time to young lawyers and associates. It is the only way to develop the practice. We have saying in Russian, you want to do it good, do it yourself. I agree in one point, but it is a short-term strategy. For the long-term strategy, you actually need to invest your time to teach your assistants and lawyers, and one day they become irreplaceable to achieve the bigger results. And as I said, you might have heard about GRATA International. We have more than 250 professionals, more than 28 years of experience, and we are run by chambers, Legal 500s, and like pretty much well known in the area. So as I said, I'm responsible for Chinese companies doing business in all of those blue jurisdictions in this map. And thank you very much for your attention. And as Aidana said, question session will be later, right?
Yeah, thank you so much for this informative and interesting talk, Gulnur. If you have questions for Ms. Gulnur, please add them in the chat and we'll be able to answer them, some of them during the Q&A session. Now moving along to our next speaker. Please welcome Aiman Yeskarayeva. She is the head of AimanYES legal services in the UAE. And first, she will share her story to a successful legal career, and then she'll talk on the topic building a successful international career. Aiman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Aidana. Thank you, AIFC, for having me today. My name is Aiman. Aidana, like little bit correction. I am partner of Awat Aliyani Advocates and Legal Consultancy. Okay. AimanYES, maybe you got it from my website. Yeah, thank you. Can you share presentation, please? And yes, I'm based in Dubai. I start my career here since 2018. Actually, generally, my legal experience more than 18 years, 16 years in Kazakhstan. Aidana, can you share this next slide? Yeah, briefly about me. I'm partner at Awat Aliyani Advocates and Legal Consultancy. I'm licensed legal professional in Dubai government, Ministry of Justice, member of International Association of Russian-speaking Lawyers, board member and vice-president at Eurasia Gulf International Company here in Dubai, UAE. Also, I am about to publish my book, Legal Guide in UAE, and I got 2 bachelor degree in with distinction in jurisprudential international law and in finance banking. Personal information: I'm a mother of 4 kids, and I have hobbies as the same as previous speaker. I pay attention to sport, and also I'm in bikers group here also in Dubai. Aidana, and for you, I prepared some small video presentation to show my journey in Dubai, and for this, my team created this small video, less than 2 minutes. I would like to share with you. Thank you, Aidana, please.
Друзья, всем привет! С вами Imanis Kariva.
To China, there is no one face encompass production.
Я не говорю с Россией, есть Казахстана большинство. Потом я думаю, как с Казахстана через Aiman?
Ismi Aiman, ана мусташара кануния. Мен қазақ тілінде сөйлеймін, мына қыздар менің өзімнің елімнен Қазақстаннан менің Instagram фолловер арайлымсыз ғой.
Thank you so much. Coming back to the presentation, Aidan, can you share presentation? Yes, thank you. Next slide, please. What does it mean for successful career? Especially if we have time, I want to see the audience opinion about this, about their opinion about this successful stories, successful international career. But as we don't have much time, please, Aidan, the next slide. And I think most of us, when we say successful career, we think like maybe high level of income or strong reputation or huge amount of clients. But I have my own formula. For me, it's being dedicated in your work. I love my work, and I think all of this high level of income, strong reputation, or huge amount of clients will come only if you are really distinguishing your and if you are dedicated. And this is for me, it works for me. I'm not only I'm not working for my clients as a lawyer. I also love my work. I try to do my best, and I accept it as my own issue. Each of my clients become my friends, and I really care about them. It's something maybe special for emotional for women. This is makes me different from others, and I truly emotionally involved in each of case. This is how it works to me. I think this is therefore I think I feel this success. Aidan, the next key factors in building a career abroad. I would like to share these key factors which works for me. And next slide. Background, especially in United Arab Emirates, it's very important, and maybe you all know that from which country you are and which diploma you have, its effect on and impact on your personal career in future. Environment is very important also to build a career in international environment, how it's which opportunities it has, especially in such a specific country. I can say specific because you know that United Arab Emirates, it's a mostly religious country, and creating personal brand is also very important. I agree with my previous speaker as well that in terms of building international career, personal brand is key factor. Next slide, please. This is also what I want to highlight, one of the key factors, or few key factors, that financial strengths, especially in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, our countries is very expensive. And if you are thinking about only about the income, and you don't have, let's say financial stability, it's difficult to work with you. Most of our lawyers, unfortunately, and we are well known for this, that care about only to get as much income as possible, even without being able to solve the issue of the client. And therefore, I remember myself, first of my year, I work less for less income, even for free in some part of pro bono. And therefore, strengths of characters, it's related with this, because I remember I was about to give up many times. But I have next to me my husband, my family, who supported me a lot, and therefore flexibility, some of, let's say, to overcome any challenges, it's very helpful if you have enough strengths. Continuous personal and professional growth is very important as well, because still now, and I will tell you in a future slide, I want to highlight also in Dubai, it's we don't have a parliament, and therefore legislation is too frequent changes always, and therefore you should be you should have up-to-date information. You should do so many research. Because we are delivering, especially lawyers, people rely on us, on our information, and to get this information, to deliver it and to be precise is very important. And therefore, I could say I work 24 hours in a day, because even I'm replying to message, I'm in touch with my client every single minutes, let's say. This is also important for building good relationship with my client. Next slide, Aidan, please. I would like to talk to Sab about some features in Dubai, some specific, which makes specific for special United Arab Emirates for building a career as a lawyer. Aidan, next slide, please. It's high competition, and I think everybody knows that in United Arab Emirates it's a highly competitive market, and there are so many lawyers, especially who is the native speakers. And as next slide, Aidan, I'll tell about that also lack of legislation in English. If you want to find any laws, you cannot find it easily in English language. For myself, I'm subscribing to a special, I am buying special subscription to the LexisNexis. You might heard about this special, yeah, it's the system which give me access to all the laws in English. Otherwise, you will not find, like in Kazakhstan or in other countries, like code all the, and for us as lawyers, it's important not to only laws, like also some amendments, some comments, all this information. It's so difficult to find, and it makes really challenge to lawyers to work in United Arab Emirates without knowing Arab language, like without speaking in Arab language. Next slide, please. And legal restriction for working as the lawyers. You might know, I hope you know, but if you don't know, you know from me now that we cannot work as an advocate. I cannot represent my clients in court. I can work as a legal consultant, legal advisor. This is the maximum we can achieve as an expat. Advocate only can be the local native citizen of United Arab Emirates. Next slide. Frequent changes in legislation, I already talked about it. And next slide, please. Multiple jurisdiction. For me, it's not challenge. I like it that we can be being specialized, but at the same time, I learned a lot from, let's say, in the Dubai International Financial Center. You know that it's the same like in Astana Financial Center. There is a precedent law applies, while in United Arab Emirates itself, we have a federal law system. It's not common law qualified lawyers. We are civil lawyers. And we have also, in terms of family law, we have a Sharia law, which based on Quran, which based on religion. And next slide, please. differences of mentality. It's also something for me. I cannot say it's some drawbacks or disadvantage. Actually, this just you need to be flexible. In some part of your work, you will face with such kind of misunderstanding, I can say. I remember when I was working first my year, I entered to office and I see that all men's like binding on knees and praying. It was such strange to me, but for them there is some like priority. If I used to work until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, even it's for us, it's something obvious, like regular. I remember myself working in bank, and it's for us, it's obvious, it's something real and natural working at late time. But here, no, it's even today, for example, Friday, and we work until only 1 o'clock, and you cannot find anyone in Friday. And I do recommend you never start your day in our countries, like religious countries, in Friday. It's some day where you never can, and we need to take it into account all this specific some mentality. And next slide, please, Aidan. The diploma is not on high value. This is how my assistant wrote it here in my presentation. But when I want to share just that, as I highlighted before previously in previous slides, that our diploma, especially like mine, I graduated from Kazakhstan. It's in this competitive market. Let's say it's not that the same value as someone with Eastern background, and therefore it's really challenging for me to build career in this market. Next slide, please. So what I personally do to overcome obstacles, it's a unique selling proportions or blue ocean strategy, because most of my clients, mostly I'm specializing in protecting expat and business in Dubai, and therefore I'm specializing only in Dubai, and I speak Russian. Mostly my Kazakh clients came to me because of the mentality. Also, they are close to me, more familiar with my service, and maybe therefore I can say I work in this blue ocean strategy. Knowledge of languages, I have 4 days in a week. I have my Arabic lesson with my private tutor. And Russian makes me special also because we have a few Russian lawyers specializing in Dubai law. Subscription to legal base, monitoring of laws. Before I did it myself, I did every single, let's say week, I'm checking laws, all the amendments in laws, and now I'm publishing it in Telegram channel. I have now special dedicated assistant who is working on this monitoring of laws in Dubai, on United Arab Emirates. I have my own team who works on my marketing. Apart from that, I have my team who works with me as my assistant here in Dubai, helping me with my cases. Development of social networks is much more important, also the same as as building a personal brand. And of course, building connections is important, because most of my cases, most of my success in my work related with other people, and we are lawyers who work with people, and therefore connection is important, networks is important. This is what I want to say for this. I hope it was interesting. Please, you can ask me any question and find me in YouTube channel. I have my own YouTube channel and Instagram. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aiman. Thank you for that excellent presentation and the video that you have prepared for us. Now I'd like to turn the floor to Kulzhan Mehrabi. She's a dual qualified lawyer with a multi-industry background and also a comprehensive and diversified legal experience. She will talk on the topic from superwoman to sustainability, thriving in your career whilst maintaining your work-life balance. Let me share the screen and also, wait a second. Kulzhan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me to speak today, and thank you to the Academy of Law staff and to my lovely co-presenters on this panel for an interesting discussion. As Aidan has already introduced me, my name is Kulzhan Mehrabi, and I'm a dual qualified English Kazakhstani lawyer. I'm very grateful to be here today. Before I start my presentation, I would like to wish you ladies a happy International Women's Day and to wish you all the happiness, success, and prosperity in the world. Today's discussion is about women's success stories, women who have chosen law as their career. We share experience, and I want to share my experience with you. However, my presentation will take a slightly different angle based on the topic I was asked to speak about. So to get things started, I thought I would frame my today's presentation with 3 sections, in which I will briefly tell you about my path of becoming a lawyer. Then I will speak about a Superwoman Syndrome and provide some recommendation as to how to remain sane, juggling a thriving career and a happy family life. Now I want to take this time to share my experience of becoming a lawyer and how I ended up here. Going back to the early stage of my career, I mean, university time, I didn't know if I wanted to be a lawyer. It was early 90s, and there were only 2 distant options to choose from, either to be a lawyer or an economist. I didn't like math, so I chose law, and thankfully, well, it worked for me. After graduating from the university, my first job was at the Ministry of Justice of Kazakhstan. I then worked at the CIS Interparliamentary Assembly in St. Petersburg. I served as a diplomat at the Foreign Ministry and its embassies, and I worked in an oil company. Although it was a slight deviation from my original route of becoming a lawyer, I gained tons of experience, which served me well later in my career. Regardless of having all those lucrative jobs at the time, I didn't feel satisfied. I wanted something more, and I thought I could do better than this. Long story short, I decided to move to London and become an advocate, a solicitor to be precise. This meant that I had to go back to where I started and make lots of sacrifices. But nothing could stop me. I was confident I could pull it off. So it took me 10 years to qualify as a solicitor. I hold 2 LLB and LLM degrees with honors in international law and English law. Those degrees I obtained from the top universities in England and Kazakhstan. I graduated from the Karaganda State University and from BPP Law School. I have completed the legal practice course with distinction. I was a top student at the leading law school in London and received an award for outstanding performance. And I successfully passed the Qualified Lawyers Transfer Scheme exam, also known as QLTS, becoming the first Kazakh lawyer to be qualified as a solicitor via the QLTS route. I'm also seriously considering doing a PhD. At the same time, I was raising a family. I was working on a part and full-time basis. I grew up from a paralegal to a senior counsel and a partner. Well, I'm a solicitor of England and Wales, as I already told you, and I'm a licensed advocate in Kazakhstan with a right of audience at the AIFC court. I hold membership in various legal associations, including the Law Society of England and Wales. It was tough. I worked my socks off, but I did it. Now, you may think that I'm showing off, but I'm not. Well, maybe I am, but I'm trying to make a point here and also prepare you for the next section of my presentation. And I think I need to move on because I'll be here all day just talking how it all came about. Thank you. Thank you, Aidan. Now, for many women, a fulfilling and rewarding working life is often more important than a thriving, than achieving a high-flying career. This is because most of women prioritize their family and relationships over their career. But there are also women who play the role of a Wonder Woman, juggling a career, family, children, home exercise, social activities, etc. And they can perform 1,000 tasks without showing any sign of tiredness. And it is quite common in women. These women are strong. They appear invincible. They have the power to fight anything. These women are, they also tend to be very demanding of themselves. And they think they are only ones who can perform tasks properly. Whatever they do to the perfection, which include jobs, home, children, relationships, studies, etc., etc. They are proud women who never show any sign of weakness. They accept all tasks assigned to them at work, even if they are about to collapse. They attend all their children's activities and ensure that their children attain high level of academic achievement and success in extracurricular activities such as music, sport, etc. So if you recognize yourself in this image that I've just described to you, or ticked at least 3 boxes, congratulations, you may have something called Superwoman Syndrome. This syndrome does not appear in any diagnostic manuals, nor is it a disorder, nor is it a recognized syndrome by the medical community. This issue has lately gained lots of attention because the number of women who are like this is on the rise. So where does it come from? The answer is simple. It comes from our early childhood. Our roles, status, responsibilities, goals, and tools to achieve those goals are determined by the social system in which we were born and brought up, i.e. family. Adjustment process occurs at birth where our parents allocate to us a place in this system. They describe to us our status and the role which we will have to perform. This is not our choice. Our role of a superwoman was allocated to us in our families in early age. This role is built into our personality by this system. That's not what we wanted to do or we wanted to be, but this is how the system perceived us. Therefore, it requires sometimes a titan's power or a long-term therapy to change the image of ourselves and as such the trajectory of our life. So applying, excuse me, applying everything that I've just said to my own set of circumstances, I grew up in a family with strict rules. When I was a child, I had to attain a high level of academic achievement. I was a top student. I also attended music school and did swimming. I looked after my baby brother. I did all the housework, and I had to help my elderly grandparents. On top of that, I served my community as all young Leninists would do. Well, ladies, you know what I mean. I was brought up in the Soviet Union. But I also helped my classmates who struggled with their studies. Did I have a choice? No, I didn't. Nobody asked me what I wanted. My mom had 2 jobs, and I had to help. And I'm sure that many women of my generation are similar to me. And the presentation of my co-presenters proved the point. So I have suffered from Superwoman Syndrome for the most of my life. That explains my show of part and desire to be the best. I didn't know that there was another way, because I strongly believed that if I worked hard, my life would be better. But it's not all that bad, don't get me wrong. There are advantages to being a superwoman. For example, I feel strong and intelligent. It's gratifying that others praise all the things that I can do. It feels pleasant to be able to help others and being commended for that. It improves my self-confidence and motivation. It is nice to know that I make life of other people easier by taking care of everything. But honestly, these are also the signs of pride and elevated ego. Can I go to the next slide, please? Thank you. And it comes at a price. This is what you or I, in this regard, get in return. Stress, which can lead to significant mental health issues like anxiety and depression, difficulty getting to sleep, lower productivity and loss of focus on your own work, weaker immune system leading to health problems, frustration and feeling drained of all your energy, anger, disappointment and guilt, not to mention broken relationships and isolation. Next slide, please. Thank you. So how can you stop being a superwoman? Well, it's not easy. Some women often require a serious therapy, but there is something you can do. First of all, you need to recognize that you are human, not a superhero. You simply cannot do everything on your own. And in doing so, you run the risk of getting sick. Second, forget your impulses to control everything. You cannot control anything but yourself. You must leave a space for uncertainty and for things to happen in your life. Third, remember that everyone is responsible for their own life. Help others is fine, but it becomes harmful when you do everything for themselves, for them. Then learn to delegate. Others can also perform tasks and they can perform them well. Do not act as if other people are incompetent. This will only limit their potential to grow. The last but not least, seek help if you need it. I mean, get help or guidance from a therapist or psychologist, or if you have a mentor from that particular person. It works wonders for many people. Now I think we need to move on. Next slide, please, Aidan. Thank you. Now, so how can you balance work and life? Evolutionarily, women are not designed to make a career and raise children at the same time. Working professionally and still largely carrying the burden of work at home and raising children have massively increased women's responsibility. And as I said, these multiple responsibilities increase stress, compromise physical and emotional health, lead to burnout, lower work productivity, and often lead to depression. It is particularly challenging in legal profession because law industry is male-dominated professional environment. As women don't have natural mechanisms and characteristics attributed to man, they use more energy and effort to succeed because they engage in an unequal competition with men. And if a woman has a family with children, she will spend 3 times more effort to build a successful career than a man. And this is the reality. So what are common reasons that lead to poor work-life balance? These are increased responsibilities at work, working longer hours, increased responsibilities at home, and having children. So what can you do to maintain a healthy work-life balance? This depends on your personal circumstances and preferences, but I will outline a few. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. Now, what can you do? First of all, adapt your attitude. Acknowledge your feelings. All feelings are valid and they need to be expressed. Lower your expectations. You don't have to be perfect. Nobody is. Practice self-compassion. You are entitled to make mistakes. All humans do, and they learn from them. Sort out your priorities. If you want to be a successful working woman, it's important to have your priorities in order, both professional and personal. You need to ask yourself, what can be compromised and what is completely non-negotiable? What are the most important commitments and work? And what are those important commitments in family? Organize and be organized. Create a structured but flexible schedule. Simplify your task list from higher to lower. You also need to set boundaries and limit distractions and time wasters. No extra burden. Create and respect your workplace. Workspace. Don't go overboard with your work. Leave work at home and don't come home with it. Learn to say no to things that aren't doing good to you. Then take time off. Days of sickness. This can significantly reduce the risk of burnout. Further, make time for yourself. Take a good care of yourself. Take rest when you need it. Try relaxing activities like meditation, yoga, etc. Maintain healthy diet. Do mild exercises. Get enough sleep, or do nothing. It also helps. Delegate some tasks to others if possible. There is nothing wrong in acknowledging that you can't do everything on your own. By doing everything by yourself, you're not only exhausting your body, but also preparing it for a breakdown in the future. Ask for help. Reach out to teammates, to managers, HR, employers, friends, etc. Communication is vital. Don't bottle it up in yourself. Now, get flexible schedules. Pick the hours that work best for you and your family, and make sure that alternative solutions or arrangements that you've made don't affect your performance and productivity. Stay connected. Evaluate who you want to invest your energy in. You don't need to spend time with everyone who asks for it. Choose the format of connection, either telephone or emails, whatever. Meet with your family, meet your friends, have a drink if needed. Get help and support from your family. If you have children, involve them in your planning. Spend quality time with them. It's rewarding. Ask parents or friends to babysit if you need. Ask your husband to help with housework and children. Ask your children to help doing some chores at home. So the bottom line is, there is no perfect or one-size-fits-all way to improve your work-life quality. But there are lots of ways you can use to make life easier. Just remember, you need to take care of your own needs first, because you deserve it. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say. I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was indeed very helpful and useful advice how to maintain the work-life balance. Well, I think we can continue with our next speaker, Aidan Gurzanova. She is the acting director and also senior associate at the legal department of the AIFC Authority. Please, Aida.
Thank you, Aidana.
Thank you.
Do you hear me well?
Yes, I'm going to share your presentation as well.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for your stimulating and inspiring speeches. It was very interesting to hear about your experiences and fascinating stories. You are doing wonderful work. My name is Aidan Gurzanova. I'm an acting director and senior associate of legal support department of the AIFC Authority, one of the AIFC bodies. Shortly introducing myself, I would like to highlight my key qualification and experience. I'm a bachelor degree lawyer, graduate from Adelaide Law School, member of USUS Chamber of Legal Advisors. I'm authorized by the AIFC Court Registrar and registered for rights of audience with the AIFC Court Registry. My road as a legal practitioner starts from industry, being a lawyer of international contracts in the aluminium factory, then a legal consultant at Big Four, PricewaterhouseCoopers, to in-house lawyer in here in the AIFC, heading legal support department. My practice is predominantly focused on corporate and contract law here. As a legal consultant, I participated in M&A projects, due diligence of the large banks, oil and gas projects. I got into law because of the satisfaction and reward that comes from the substantive work itself. Across disciplines and industries, the practice of law is always challenging. Lawyers are an essential component of the most significant matters in everything from business to government. The process of analysis involved in examining a legal issue and evaluating a constantly changing framework of laws and regulations is mentally stimulating and personally gratifying. As a lawyer, I feel an essential function in society, facilitating order, fairness, and progress. Lawyers bring the education, training, experience, and to advocate people and companies and guide them through substantial and critical decisions. My speech will be based on my personal experience, which has developed during my work as a lawyer in various companies, as well as on books, lectures, articles. I used articles of the New York State Bar Association, the World Bank's Women, even the Glass Half Broken book, and also the articles of UN Women Empowering Women at Work, and postcards that I have listened to during my studies and my work. So the first slide. Over the last years, equality between women and men in the world of work has seen some encouraging improvements, but there remains scope for further progress. Women in the legal profession have come a long way over the years, and there was a time when women did not have rights to be a lawyer even. The legal profession has been historically dominated by men going back hundreds of years. Even so, the way is still wide open for improvements for female lawyers, especially when it comes to moving up to senior positions and or taking management positions. Almost all over the world, and in accordance with research in the gender discrimination, women are nearly twice as likely as men to say they have experienced gender discrimination at the workplace. Gender discrimination doesn't hurt only women. The entire organization may suffer when gender bias is present by way of lost productivity, increased turnover, or even legal retaliation. I would like to believe gender inequality at the workplace is a matter of the past only, but gender bias is still very much present in today's workplace. Toxic work cultures continue to plague the workplace, making it hard for some employees to bring their full selves to work while achieving their desired career progression. But there are things entities, organizations do to help struggle with the problem. Next slide, please. Oh. Okay, let's do this slide. The resources available to companies seeking to promote gender equality in the workplace come in two broad forms: normative instruments and initiatives. Normative instruments set out the broad objectives of gender equality, identify key obstacles that need to be addressed, and advocate for a systematic approach to tackling gender discrimination. In the world of work, this consists mainly of legislative and normative acts. In AIFC, it's AIFC Employment Regulations and AIFC Ethics Code. The normative documents serve to guide company policies, and they are referenced in other normative instruments and initiatives serving to standardize and coordinate approaches. Initiatives, the company policies to promote gender equality in the workplace. It includes initiatives concerning women's economic empowerment and gender equality at work. Organizations shall be committed to a work environment in which all individuals are treated with respect and dignity. Each individual has the right to work in a professional atmosphere that promotes equal employment opportunities and prohibits unlawful discriminatory practices, including harassment. So acting law of the AIFC, namely AIFC Employment Regulations, prohibit discrimination on the grounds of sex, marital status, race, nationality, religion, age, disability. The legislation applies to employees and it forbids discrimination at every stage of the relationship, from the very beginning when vacancies are first advertised through to dismissal. Sexual harassment is now for the first time expressly defined in the legislation as unwanted conduct, which on the grounds of sex violates dignity or creates a hostile or offensive environment, regardless of whether the conduct itself is of a sexual nature. Next slide, please. To foster the success of women and organizations as a whole, the latter must arrange and or assess their existing policies and rules when recruiting, hiring employees, integrating employees, promote the culture of meritocracy, developing employees, and others. Let's start with the recruiting. Next slide, please. So seek candidates outside managers' individual networks, which may be homogeneous. Assess the language used to describe jobs in organizations. There is a checklist for attracting candidates. So the companies and the organizations shall prevent discrimination in recruitment, plan approach to ensure a company complies with its obligations to prevent discrimination in recruitment processes, educate others involved in the recruitment process about their obligations, cast the net as widely as possible to attract a diverse pool of applicants, be consistent and fair in the way the company treats candidates, accommodate people who require adjustments, do not seek irrelevant personal information from applicants, focus on the essential requirements of the job, set aside personal bias, any myth, stereotypes. Of course, keep records of the decisions and select the person best suited to the job. Next slide, please. Hiring. Educate managers about gender bias and how it might influence hiring decisions. Anonymize CVs, diversify interview panels, select final candidates and evaluate them against defined criteria rather than hiring on a rolling basis. Next slide, please. Integrating employees. Create opportunities for employees to work towards shared goals with people who are different from them. Discourage exclusionary social activities and make sure women are not treated as outliers team members. Next slide, please. Promote a culture of meritocracy. Promote a culture where great ideas come from all levels, genders and races, and all voices are welcome and respected around the table. And to do so, companies must foster meritocracies, hiring, rewarding, and promoting the best people based on their merit. As a result, the most progressive companies have created formal systems for ensuring that job applicants and employees are judged solely by their efforts, skills, abilities, and performance, regardless of gender, race, national origin, or class. Next slide, please. Developing employees. Training is important in improving understanding of what constitutes violence and harassment and ensuring that measures to prevent and address it are enforced. Frequent in-person interactive training seems to be the best approach, particularly when it features content that is tailored to a specific department or to a specific company. Various approaches may be required to transform the workplace culture, including implicit bias training, bystander intervention training, training to change stereotypes and social norms, and peer-to-peer training, which empowers employees to help each other. Training should be evaluated to assess its short and long-term effects and ensure that the best methods are implemented based on staff characteristics and compositions and, of course, feedback. Establish mentoring programs. Sometimes it's not enough just to encourage women within the workplace. A lot need extra guidance and knowledge in order to achieve their career ambitions. Research suggests that mentoring programs make for a more diverse work hierarchy. They give women a brighter spotlight and help them climb the professional ladder with the help of networks, skills, and organizational knowledge. Mentoring relationships can pair women with senior leaders or colleagues who can eliminate steps and knowledge needed to get their next promotion or transition. These mentors don't have to be of the same gender. It's beneficial for men to mentor women, as men still hold the majority of senior leadership positions in companies across the globe. Whether it's mentoring circles, flash mentoring, or high potential mentoring, modern mentoring impacts a feeling of inclusivity that can help women feel more connected and engaged with their place of employment. Next slide, please. Assessing performance of employees, educate managers about gender bias and how it might influence the feedback and performance ratings they give employees. Assess the criteria used to rate performance and eliminate ambiguous and vague standards. Next slide, please. Establish clear and transparent criteria for salary offers and increases. Policies aimed at companies sets out useful steps that can foster commitment and action towards gender diversity and provide illustrative company examples. There are 5 key aspects that drive the promotion gender equality. So it's achieving, next slide, please. Achieving equal pay for work of equal value. Achieving gender equality and women's economic empowerment at work requires that the work done by women and men is valued equally and that they receive equal pay for work of equal value. The pay gap prevails at all levels of employment, including management, and gap rates vary based on employment level. Through the adoption, effective implementation, monitoring, evaluation, and public reporting of comprehensive equal pay policies, companies can ensure that workers' contributions are valued equally, regardless of their gender. Comprehensive equal pay policies are more effective when they ensure commitment and leadership from the top, establish and implement a comprehensive equal pay policy, measure the gender pay gap and perform gender-neutral job evaluations, and promote pay transparency and reporting. Transparency is particularly important in closing the gender pay gap as it facilitates discussion both internally and externally of what does and does not work and promotes knowledge sharing. Transparency is central to eliminating pay inequality. It gives employees confidence that their pay is fair and non-discriminatory, which has been shown to provide motivation for greater productivity and team collaboration. Pay transparency helps both employers and employees obtain the information necessary to assess gender discrimination and rectify pay gaps, as well as negotiate fair remuneration individually or through collective bargaining. Okay, so pay transparency helps both to employers and employees. This will also reduce the risk of unequal pay claims being made against companies as well. Conversely, not disclosing pay can reinforce gender discrimination in business practice and create doubt and mistrust among colleagues or between employees and employers. Of course, it's promoting work-family balance and an equal sharing of childcare responsibilities, fostering women in business and management, and building a future work that works for both women and men.
Thank you, Aida.
Yes.
Can you please wrap
Mhm.
up your
Yeah.
talk? Thank you.
Achieving economic empowerment and gender equality for women all will require proactive and transformative policies from a variety of global stakeholders, including governments, companies, employers and workers' organizations, and for sure, civil society. Although it might be hard to big strides, organizations are taking steps to remove gender bias in the workplace. If we ever want to reach or get close to gender parities, though, we will need to work diligently and consistently. Work should be safe and motivating for all. Women are organized, disciplined, multitasking. That is why they should be considered as a strategic workforce for organizations. For me personally, gender equality at the workplace is very important because it means women know that they are evaluated based on their skills and not on their gender. It allows them to do their best at work and produce quality work. Although our profession still has much room to improve and likely will continue to need to do as times and values change. In conclusion, I want to take a moment and congratulate the beautiful heart of jurisprudence, and not only jurisprudence, and on the upcoming 8th of March, a celebration of gender equality and a special day to remember how much have been done by women for their independence. So dear ladies, I wish you to always be the most beloved, the most beautiful, and generally the very best. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, Aida. Now we can move to the Q&A session. Let me start as a moderator the first round of questions to each speaker, and then we can move to the question from the audience. We have approximately 10 minutes for this session. So, and by the way, all the speakers are encouraged to be engaged into the discussion. My first question goes to Ms. Gulnur. You talked about the importance of identifying goals and understanding your strengths and weakness in reaching the top. So my question is how to build and nurture the right connections with industry leaders to advance the career. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aidana, for your question. But after Kulzhan Mehrabi speech, I really don't know whether it will be the right answer or not. I really should go and start my yoga instead. But yeah, I mean, for networking, for example, when I just started in China, it wasn't easy to establish a good network, but we have already our background with law firms like Magic Circle once in UK. And then we were appointing, so our senior counsel, he's based in UK, Andrew Gamble. I was so impressed. He worked for 40 years for Hogan Lovells, and then he retired and joined the firm as a senior counsel in GRATA. So he came to teach me to be in Beijing, and we prepare all networking activities for 2 weeks. And we have 5 meetings per day, 2 meetings in the morning, 1 business lunch, 2 meetings in the afternoon, and that was crazy schedule, 35 meetings within 8 days. And we get prepared to the meetings with, we find out all the common projects with these law firms. We prepared what might be of their common clients we sharing, like privatization program in Kazakhstan, renewable energy development on Kazakhstan for the energy clients and so on. So we will get prepared. It was like 1 month of preparation just for networking to bring value for the meeting. And then we had these crazy meetings, and now I know, as Kulzhan said, we need more energy for that. I was exhausted after that 5 meetings. I couldn't even, I was just exhausted because it actually requires energy. As I said, I do 2 meetings, new meetings per week, but for that we have 5 meetings per day. And after the meetings, Andrew was sending the follow-up saying, oh, during the meeting you mentioned that, during the meeting you mentioned that the son is in UK. He was so particular. It was not just follow-up, thank you for the meeting. It was a really touching follow-ups with every single word in which they said during the meeting. And then he finished by 9 in the evening, 10. I was just like, he's crazy how he can work this way. And then by 1 in the morning, we got the letters from Andrew. notes for every single meeting, specifying every single detail. So, okay, this law firm shows the interest on further cooperation because 2 partners attended the meeting. These law firms just sent associates. They were not even taking the notes. So might be not the further cooperation with law firms. So it's a huge work to be done, and that's how I learned how we actually need to make connection. For me, like during the conference, as I said, I used to participate just a participant, but then you just need to run out there and introduce yourself to everyone. But once you're a speaker, everyone comes to you and share their business card. And they said just a couple of words, and then you need to remember what they have said. You need to make sure that they remember you, you remember them, and then make a follow-up work. So it should be preliminary work for networking itself, and follow-up work after the networking. This is the only way to make successful networking work to be done and finish and working. And
right.
Yeah, but have no time for sleep in that case. I should reconsider that.
Great tip, actually. Well, my second question goes to Aiman about the international career. You have, like, having worked in several jurisdictions as well as having built a business in another country, what skills are essential in building a successful international career?
Enthusiasm, passion, and I think, flexibility.
Yes, I agree with you. Well, we all liked Kulzhan's presentation today. It was really interesting to listen to maintaining work-life balance. But my question is, should the family be considered as free time or work?
Thank you for your kind assessment of my presentation. It means a lot. Thank you. So I personally think that family is a 24/7 full-time job. You know, we don't clock in or out of motherhood, for example. We are responsible for our children's welfare all the time. And to me, free time is when you're not required to work, right? It is leisure associated with relaxation and pleasure. And having family with children is a hard work involving housekeeping, chores, bringing up children and developing them into a rounded human being, helping them with their homework, taking them to extracurricular activities, you name it. And it doesn't really look to me as a free time. Honestly, sometimes I think to myself, why is it only 24 hours a day? I need at least 36 to make things done. And on top of that, women often have to work full time, and because they need to pay or contribute to the bills. And they want to realize themselves as persons, as professionals, and build a career. And most of us have 2 or more full-time jobs without even realizing it. So, and for some women, work and career is not even a choice. It's something, well, we have to do it. It's kind of our default settings, if you wish.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Totally agree with you. Aida, you said that gender stereotypes are still prevalent in many work environments. Can you please say what are the challenges of women often experience in the legal industry?
For sure, gender discrimination, as I highlighted previously, women are no strangers to gender discrimination. The problem in the legal profession, however, takes a slightly different turn. So the number of female solicitors is almost equal to their male peers at the junior levels. They remain severely underrepresented at higher levels. Also, it's the lack of work-life balance. It's one of the major obstacles that female lawyers often face. Most lawyers have to work late hours and remain accessible almost 24/7. It can be challenging for a woman, particularly a single mother, to practice law in such timeframes. However, in today's technology-driven world and this post-COVID era, it's easier to attain a suitable work-life balance. Most female lawyers use the combination of flexible working hours and work at home to juggle their professional and personal commitments. Creating a work-life balance is a learning process that requires patience. So don't be disheartened by a few hiccups. Just make sure to formulate a plan that benefits everyone and stick with it. And women also experience challenging concerning being introduced, for example, in consulting to key clients or being mentored in client development.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your answer. Dear participants, if you would like to ask a question, please raise your hand or just write in the chat box. I will read that out loud for the speakers.
May I have a question?
Sure.
Before I have a question, is that Kulzhan, Mehrabi, I'm just impressed by your British accent, by your ability, like make it to perfection. It's in fact the syndrome of Superwoman. And you mentioned that you work in a law firm in England. May I ask which law firm you work for?
Thank you for your kind words. My last workplace was Axiom Stone Solicitors. I worked at the litigation department, but for the last 6 months, I have taken a sort of a break because I was offered a very interesting project in which I was acting as an expert in Kazakh law in a protracted, long-going litigation case involving Kazakhstani, party. So I had to. I was acting for the defendants in this case. I can tell you what case. It's Kazakh Kagazi. It's Kazakhstan Kagazi case. I mean, if you know, it's a very long-going fraud case. It goes since 2013. So, and I was asked to prepare an expert report on this, and actually did a lot of other work related to this. So I just took a break, and I thought that I would try something different. And frankly speaking, I liked it. I liked it very much. So currently,
you're following your advisors, right? To take a break and have a deep breath.
I can't do many, but I'm too old to do all those things. When I was 25, 30 years, yeah, I could do it. I was a superwoman. But now, sorry, ladies, I can't do it anymore. So yeah, but I'm
one more question,
going to the next.
Yeah. We have one more question from Danaya. She's asking, I guess, from all of you. Sorry, do you have as experts advice for beginning lawyers like myself? Like for the beginning lawyers, what kind of advice can you give?
You can start to be a superwoman. And then once you reach 40 years old, you can actually take a deep breath and start resting. But yeah, I mean, the advices have been done by all the speakers, I believe, today, like step-by-step instructions, what to do in order to succeed, right?
Yes.
I have a question
to this. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you can continue.
Just, it's really difficult for young lawyers, particularly young women lawyers, to actually break through. There are lots of barriers, and I know, every woman who chose law as their career have experience. But what I would say, be open to any opportunity that comes your way. Sometimes you have no idea what it can, or where it can bring you. So take an opportunity. Don't be afraid of taking risks. Calculating risks. But just take a risk. Don't. Give yourself this opportunity to try different things, and just do it. Honestly.
Thank you. Thank you for this encouragement. Well,
one more question, Aidana, please.
Yeah, sure.
I really would like to know Kulzhan's opinion. It was a hearing, right, in Parliament in UK, where they mentioned that the sanctions against Russia. Sorry for such a very amazing International Women's Day asking these questions, but what is in your opinion? Do you think the sanctions against Russia will be implemented or somehow affect Kazakhstan as well, since it's already the question has been rising in UK recently? What is your opinion on the matter?
Well, it's difficult to say, because I don't know if you're aware, despite the fact that European Union and the United States have imposed quite strict sanctions, the UK is, they take small steps, right? Because, irrespective of whether they want it or don't want it, it affects tremendously, not just Russian party, but also the UK citizens, businesses, etc., etc. So I think our government are more cautious with respect to sanctions. When I mean, in respect of your question in particular to Kazakhstan, well, I hope they won't, but you can see that the sanctions also are imposed against the Belarusian, politicians and high net. So it's really difficult to say, but I personally don't see any connection, connection between Russia's invasion of Ukraine and Kazakhstan, for as long as Kazakhstan maintain their position of non-involvement in what's going on currently in Ukraine. So I don't have a crystal ball, I don't know, but I'm hoping that the UK government will take a reasonable approach to this particular. And then again, what's going on now between, between West and Russia and Ukraine, etc., etc. I think it's best to maintain cool mind and try to look into this particular situation from different perspectives. The key is don't take any sides.
Thank you.
Otherwise, you can really get drained in all this,
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, without any further delay, I would like to introduce you to Mr. David Callum to close today's event. David, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Aidana. Good afternoon. First and foremost, on behalf of the AIFC Academy of Law, let me express our gratitude for our outstanding speakers today for sharing your success stories and experiences with us. It's been amazing. The goal of today's discussion was to celebrate and support women on their legal career path and to recognize their achievements. We hope that the next generation of young legal professionals, regardless of gender, will be inspired and encouraged by today's speakers and will continuously learn and develop through their own professional experiences. Well, today's event was really intended as a celebration, an early celebration of International Women's Day, recognizing the journeys, the challenges, and the achievements of outstanding women in law and business is important for its affirmation of the value of diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplaces. So you did a really great job. We really enjoyed it and appreciated your time and effort. When it comes to equality, the AIFC Academy of Law focuses on the education sector, of course, and the relevancy of education to the ongoing progression of society. The primary objective of the Academy is strengthening human capital development through education courses and practical skills training. And its key demographic market focus includes judges, lawyers, mediators, arbitrators, paralegals, and legal support service providers. Well, the Academy also focuses on creating learning opportunities for business professionals whose jobs have substantial legal content, such as managers in finance, cybersecurity, risk compliance, and human resource functions. So preparing professionals for international commercial practice is really a unifying theme that binds all of our initiatives. And we hope that each and every one of you also engages in that dynamic process in your own environments. And of course, what we focus on is really at the same time stimulating the accomplishment of the broader vision of Kazakhstan in creating a knowledge-based, diversified, and sustainable economy. So the Academy of Law really strives to create a unique, differentiated, holistic, and cross-disciplinary model of legal education that integrates matters of ethics, business, the humanities, and the common law and civil law traditions. And each of you in your own way also have embraced a similar broad approach toward your own career development, your own career experiences, and the causes that you are focused on in your respective jobs really do incorporate kind of this broad range of topics and issues, not limited to law, but that include all these various humanistic values that matter in the scheme of things. So providing legal education programs on AIFC law and international cross-jurisdictional practice ensures that highly qualified specialists like all of you will drive the successful operation of the AIFC and of the ongoing development and progressive improvement of the Kazakhstan as well as the CIS societies. So with that, I'd truly like to express our support and immense admiration for women who enhance the legal profession, who represent what is best in the human spirit through our education, through their own education and hard work, and who are admirable role models for the next generation of women professionals. So now I'd like to, make kind of a point that is personally interesting to me. So I'm the father of 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. They are all young adults. And what I always tried to tell them in terms of maybe a philosophy to try to shape their lives around was to dream big, work hard, and have fun. And a recurring theme that I heard from all of the speakers today really did encompass those big themes. It all starts with dreaming big, and each and every one of you certainly worked hard and toiled through endless nights of academic study and exam preparation and so forth to get to where you are. And hopefully the fun is starting to pay off. But think about this, maybe this is a little bit of a caveat, which is all of this happened because of your big dreams and your hard work, but also you had the opportunity to make it happen. In some cases, you had to create that opportunity or drive the creation of that opportunity. But let's face it, the world has a long ways to go. So I guess, one bit of fatherly advice is keep in mind what your journeys have meant to you and what it took to get there. And now that you are in positions of influence, you're speaking at events like this, you're in positions to hire other people, you're in positions to be role models for the next generation of women. So always remember that you can be part of the ongoing progress by attempting to create opportunities for others, to come along based on the path that you have created for them. By the way, my oldest daughter is a New York lawyer, and I think she was about 6 years old. I remember we would do Christmas holiday getaways to New York City, and amongst all the glitz and glamour and lights and ice skaters and Christmas displays, I remember my 6-year-old oldest daughter saying, "Dad, when I grow up, I want to live in New York and be a lawyer." So there you go. So I think it's just I have a personal stake in in this philosophy, and certainly in the career journeys of every one of you, who are on this call today. So with that, wishing you all a very happy International Women's Day to strong, intelligent, talented and simply wonderful women of this world. Don't ever forget that you are greatly appreciated. Thank you again for participating in today's event. We wish you every success in all of your professional activities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much again to AIFC for organizing such an event, for your congratulations. It's an honor and pleasure to be part of the event. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. And I'd like to thank my colleagues, Nurjan in the legal department, for his participation today and for his knowledgeable words. We really appreciate, Nurjan, you being part of this. And Aidana, you've been fabulous. As always, you never cease to impress. And so I think you were really the perfect moderator for this event. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, again, for joining our event today. So especially being in a financial center and having a representative from 3 big financial centers like Beijing, London, and Dubai, and in Nur Sultan, and having all of you, our compatriots in these financial centers, and one of the leading lawyers in these countries. We are very proud of having you there. So thank you so much for participating in our event.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Congratulations with upcoming International Women's Days for all our colleagues, participants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
I hope the event was beneficial for everybody. The recording can be available in our YouTube channel of the AIFC Academy of Law. Thank you for your participation. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Aidan.
Bye.